We're live! Welcome back, everyone. Warcamp Broadcast, episode number 3. I'm Shepasaurus, probably undergeared and definitely overconfident.
And I'm Surgic, your guide to all things tanky. Shameless plug out there. I just released a new video on Lost Veil, so check it out.
Definitely go check out his video. He's a fantastic tank. He does a lot of PvE. Really good guide. I watched it myself. Today, we're diving back. You watched it too? Maybe too many times, right? While you're editing everything.
There's a reason why it's got 200 video views on YouTube.
So today we're diving back into PvE content and Return of Reckoning and rolling that straight into a big topic here. The new player experience in 2026 is Return of Reckoning welcoming. What do you think?
Was that a question? Is
Yes.
Return of Reckoning welcoming? Okay, so if you've ever tried to get a friend into Warhammer Online and I'm sorry, I got distracted. If you've ever tried to get a friend into Warhammer Online and had to say, just push through the first 16 levels, man, it gets better once you get to tier 2, then this episode's for you.
Let's start with PvE. Return of Reckoning has a surprising amount of PvE influence rewards, public quests, layers, dungeons like Gunbad, Bashing Stairs, Lost Veil. There's actually quite a bit of depth here for just the PvE, even though it's a PvP game. But the question is, does a new player see that depth, or is it confusing? Do they get lost? Serge, what do you think?
Well, I think most new players are shoved into the game with no real direction. Some people like the no hand holding thing, but in reality, I think there should be something that says, hey, go here for this content. But I don't know how you can do that without it being immersion breaking. I get asked all of the time, when can I start PvP? Or which dungeon could I do at this level? The public quest system is a really great way to experience some PvE content, but it's not accessible to all players, especially the new players, depending on which class they pick, how many people they got to try the game with them, whether or not they're in a good guild. Um, so yeah. Not really sure. Not really sure where to go with that.
Well, let's look at the public quest system, which you kind of touched on. Let's start with that. Great way to start off your experience in RVR. But it's often empty at lower tiers, right? Especially now, if there's not a big group of people starting new characters, you're going to be trying to go through these public quests on your own. And the hard and normal ones are pretty much impossible, especially if you're like a sorceress trying to do it solo.
Oh, yeah.
Public quests were one of the biggest draws for me back in live. I thought it was awesome. You could just pop into this area. There's all these other random people working towards completing the same goal, and everyone gets rewards for it. Well, almost everybody. Depends on if you give enough contribution. But now, most of these areas feel empty, and I don't think it's just because of the population. A lot of people still play this game, create new characters, but everyone really just aims straight for scenarios and open RVR right off the bat. I know I typically do it. Our hardcore characters, of course, are staying away from that. But for the most part,
sure. Yeah, of course. So, the public quest system really shines when there are a lot of people doing it. And like you said, there are still people that are playing this game. So the population isn't necessarily the problem. The problem is because public quests are very unrewarding at low levels. The only reason to do a public quest at low levels is for the experience, but most people would rather be doing RVR, tier 1, low level tier 2, mid-tier scenarios. Renown is the true game to a lot of people. So They need to
Interesting.
do
Yeah.
something about the incentive to do public quests.
Well, aside from the experience, the other incentive is the influence rewards. How do you feel about, the current rewards that are provided leveling through each zone? I personally think some
So,
of the rewards are fantastic, but when I reach a chapter with influence rewards that don't really match my character, it is a real drag to grind out those points. Some chapters don't even have their
yeah,
full influence reward. You just
yeah.
level a tank on the order side in under 24 hours. Uh,
Ugh.
did you run into any chapters where the influence rewards seemed really lacking or just missing?
So, the difference here is I know where to look, but as a new
Even on the
player,
order side?
yeah, I mean, if you so when you're leveling a character, if you know better, you look in your influence reward tome of knowledge, and if you don't have access to those influence rewards, like what you're going to get, you just go talk to the rally master for that quick camp, and you can see what the rewards are. So I know where to look. The difference is not everybody knows where to look, and some of the influence rewards outpace the RVR rewards, but some of the rewards are extremely lacking. Um, so it's pretty even on both sides, whether you play Order or Destro in the rewards that you get. Uh, they really need to focus on updating these rewards and make PQs worth doing in certain areas. Some rewards are just not worth getting, so the influence you completely skip over the influence because there's no incentive.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Winter Wolf in chat gave an idea, which I'm going to start off saying I don't think it would be great. I think there would be a lot of community backlash for this. He says give PQs both XP, gear, and renown. I don't think that would go over well. I think a lot of people would really complain because they spend a lot of
Um,
time doing PvP. And
I would I would say that if you tied PvP to the public quest, then a lot of people would be okay with it giving renown, right? But if there's no PvP, then there should be no renown reward. But I could imagine a world where you're fighting over public quests in a PvP situation. And that could be entertaining. While you're leveling through PvE, somebody could come through. Um, you'd have to talk about maybe debolstering people because I could see level 40s coming in on their full sob tunes and messing with people. So maybe talk about a debolster system. But, I could definitely see that being a thing. It's kind of a cool idea if you were to implement PvP in the PQs.
I'm trying to play back one of my old PvP videos, and there's a reason why my average frames over about 1,800 hours is below 10. It was just skipping the entire time. I don't know how I played like this. I just upgraded my computer, guys. Sometimes I have some connection errors. Um, so moving on from public quests, getting back on track. Do you think the dungeon progression path is clear for new players coming in?
No. Simply put, not at all. I am of the
I'd agree.
belief that if I have to leave the game to learn how to play the game, then it's not very well designed for new players. There's no lead up quests to dungeons that tell me where I need to go. I learned about dungeons because I'm part of an amazing guild and I'm surrounded by an amazing community.
Goblin Worker
Uh,
Union,
uh,
let's go!
yeah, GWU is very, very helpful and very, very new player friendly. Without the community, I would not have known what to do and where to go. You can ask in the new player guild, which is the Destro and Order both have one. You can ask in advice chat. You can ask in region chat. Those are great communities to be a part of, but who tells you that you can ask these people and they'll even like I didn't know about advice chat until somebody told me about it because the filters were turned off when I first downloaded the game. So like how do I know where to go without asking other people? And I mean, I shouldn't have to ask people how to play your game. I don't want it to be spoon-fed. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't want it to be spoon-fed, but there should be some kind of lead up to it.
Yeah. I think they've tried to get into that.
They're doing a great job, and we're going to hit on that.
I think the way armor progression works, which is kind of tied to the dungeon progression, the ward progression is set up pretty great, very easy to see once you discover the Book of Knowledge and actually look through it.
Yeah.
I think it's well done showing the progression of armor unlocks. However, I don't think it's clear on what to do next to unlock the next armor set, is why I asked the question about the dungeon setup. A question I often get is, what do I do next? What dungeon do I go to? Can I go to Lost Vale and get the Dark Promise set right away? I think expanding the Armory tab on the Book of Knowledge, to provide a location or tips for acquiring each armor piece would go a long way in catering towards new players just rediscovering Return of Reckoning.
Right. Where do I get the Braggart set? Where do I get the Hunter boots? Where do I get the Protector's boot? Where do I get these things? It's not shown in the Armory tab. This goes back to like hand holding. I don't expect the game to hold my hand, but there's no information on where to get this stuff if you haven't experienced it yet. Without being part of the community, you cannot learn about these games. Yes, it's a social game. It's a PvP game, so you shouldn't be worried about some of this stuff. Okay, whatever. I don't care. What you do need to worry about though is who out there, before watching a streamer or a YouTuber or hearing about the armory um in your tome of knowledge, who figured that out on their own?
I didn't.
I'm sure there's a few people raising their hand, but it's not told to you by anywhere. Like you have to learn about this from somebody else. What I'm really trying to say here, guys, is the community is awesome. Go join a guild. Please go join a guild. It doesn't have to be ours. But without community help, we wouldn't know a lot of these things. I think that's a design flaw, and I think they're trying to fix this. But yes, where do I get these things from? The ward system is cool, but it's not explained very well.
Right. I'd agree. So how about the player versus environment versus realm incentives? We talked a little about the incentives earlier. Which feels more rewarding early? Do you feel like PvE is a meaningful path to progression, or just a side activity?
I am the wrong person to be.
I know. So Surge has always said that you don't need to do any PvP. And he does that. He levels some characters strictly PvE with very minimal PvP, and does LV in normal gear in Ruined Red Eye. But how do you feel about the rewards and incentives?
So you can get into end game gear a lot faster through PvE, but it's a slog. Having to find people to play with, finding players that are not going to drag you through a 4-hour Bastion stair. So
No.
RVR up front, RVR is way more rewarding early on. PvP is infinitely repeatable, but PvE is definitely a great way to gear your character up to in-game content. So you can fight longer, fight harder in PvP. But you are going to be missing out on a lot of stats for your renown if you don't level your renown. And you can feel it. I feel it whenever I level my characters through PvE. I do it on purpose, just to show that it can be done. I'm told all of the time that it can't be done, and I do it every time. Renown is awesome, but it's not needed for PvE. and PvE is not needed to get into PvP. They are completely separate from one another, and I prove it every time. But to answer your question, RVR is way more rewarding early on, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And actually, they're doing some things to kind of incentivize more people to. Oh, it's lagging again. I'm gonna bring it back. Incentivize the well-geared players to come back and do the old dungeons. They're adding hard mode. They're adding rewards for killing Nakari 100 times. We're working on that. We're doing a ton of PvE. If someone needs an LV run, we'll carry them through, try to get that new cloak. And I love that. I love that they're doing that because it not only gives veteran players something to grind for on the PvE side, but it also gives incentive to help out newer players and bring them through and teach them some of the ropes. No, I think PvE shines through the most when you're in a guild and can do those things together with veterans and more experienced players. Solo can feel very quiet, and that's very deadly for game retention. People are going to leave if they don't have someone to play with in this game. So it brings me to my next question, Sir Jack. Do you think Return of Reckoning is welcoming to new players in 2026?
So,
Hey, buddy.
I want to answer this question, but I want to go back to. Okay, Shep is quiet. Why is Shep quiet?
Sorry, my son's up. I'll be right back. One second.
I'm gonna turn you up. Okay, so I want to answer this question. You said two things. Okay, good. Okay, cool. So, is Return of Reckoning welcoming to new players? I think that the game is introducing so many new and exciting features, lots of quality of life changes. I definitely think it's an exciting game to get into, but yeah, without a good guild or a good community, you're kind of losing out on some what would be good players. The solo content isn't very exciting unless you're a solo RVR player. I can think of a couple right off the bat. And that's why I said some people may disagree with you that the solo content isn't exciting. Um, some people like solo in RVR and solo queuing for scenarios. And those players are well established. But going back to what you were saying about bringing veteran players back into the dungeons, they are doing a very good job of bringing players into Gunbad through the amount of money that you can make from running Gunbad every day. They brought people back into Bastion Stair with the new rings. They brought people into LV with the rings, and now with the kill Nakari 100 times cloak. Everybody wants that cloak, man. It's really cool. Um, BB, the best thing you can get from BB early on is um, that jewelry piece, the jewelry slot tier 3 piece, and then you can easily do the run to get your weekly soul stone out of the way if you really want to. So like every dungeon has its own incentive, and I love it. But there was something said before from a really well-known streamer that I don't want to do PvE to make gold. I don't want to be stuck doing content like Gunbad for gold. If I want a PvP, then I should be able to PvP to make gold. And I agree with that. I just don't know how you could implement something like that. Um, it's a little bit maybe quests, repeatable quests that have a cooldown, that have you kill 200 players and you can get 50 gold. I don't know. Um, that could be something that could be implemented for PvPers.
In RVR, or a weekly
Or
another.
scenarios.
I mean,
Yeah,
there is
that's what
weekly
like.
for PvPs. There's already
Yeah,
that. That's
so
already a
if
thing.
you go look at the weekly quests, or it's the rally masters or whatever for the PvP, right? The Herald. You go talk to them and you can get gold from them, but you're also missing out on getting some um, crests. So what are you going to take, crests or gold? Most people are going to take the crests. So you're really not making that much gold. The only people that are taking the gold are people that are full sov already. So you really want those crests, man. So what I'm saying is introduce a repeatable quest to kill like 200 players, and then you can get like 10 gold or 50 gold, or I don't know how much gold, but you could repeat that quest over and over again. So that way I'm not forced into doing something that I don't want to do. I'm going to be doing PvP anyway, so why not give me some way to afford continuing to do PvP? There are a lot of players that are struggling making ends meet on in certain aspects of the game because they can't afford to keep purchasing the potions for the potions and liniments.
Right. That's especially
If
bad
I
on the order side. I heard that their auction
Yeah,
house is a bit more expensive, which is a shame.
luckily for us, we don't have that problem. But so in chat, there somebody said something marks for gold. So maybe being able to trade in your crests for gold,
Oh, wow.
right?
That would be a big. Well, I
So
mean, once you're level 80, renown rank 80 plus, you just have all those extra crests, right? That would be actually a really good crest sync. A reason to keep doing your. Um, Man, that's a really good idea. Who came up with that? Who said that in chat?
Cyrus.
Good call, Cyrus. That's a great
So
idea.
I have a rebuttal for that, and I don't
Okay.
necessarily disagree, but I have a rebuttal for that. What if you have your character is fully geared in full Sav, and you
Mm-hmm.
have your Triumph jewelry piece, and you don't need crests at all, and you want to funnel those crests to players in your guild that don't have full Sav yet. So you opt out of those roles. So
Oh,
now you're going to take those players that are full Sav and make them opt in again so they can make gold. You know what I'm saying?
I see. I see.
So I don't necessarily disagree with giving crests a way to make gold or save gold. So like give them let them purchase really good potions and liniments, which I believe you can. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
You could buy really good
give
potions from Land of the Dead with your crests. Fairly cheap too.
yeah, they are pretty good. They're not the best, but they are really good.
And
So
they are on a separate cooldown,
and
which
they
is why
don't
they're so
share a
good.
cooldown. When they don't share a cooldown. Um, but those don't use crests. Those use the marks from Land of the Dead. Those use I don't even
No,
have
no,
them on
no.
this
You could either use crests or marks from Land of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
You either use
I
the
didn't know that.
scarabs, the golden
Shows you how much
scarabs,
I do Land of the
or
Dead.
yeah, or you can use war crest. There's
Okay.
each item has two ways to buy it. It's either 10 war
Okay.
crests
Awesome.
or 10 golden scarabs. I think that's the amount. But yeah,
I
I
love it.
have accidentally used way too many war crests to buy potions because I was clicking on the wrong thing. So be careful when you're in Land of the Dead and you're buying all these potions. Make sure you're using the right currency.
Yeah, for sure. Always. But no, I do like that idea. Use your crests for gold. Um, but it will take away from the players that are trying to funnel crests to the less geared. And
That's
a
true.
lot of players in our guild and in I'm assuming a lot of different guilds also do this, is they funnel those crests to people that need them. So that would remove the ability for you to do that. It would basically mean, well, now I want those crests, so
So
I'm
good
gonna take
luck.
those.
Good luck, everyone else.
And if you look, you're only getting maybe 70 gold from the weekly, I can run Gunbad right now on my 7 level 40s and get 700 gold. And if I'm doing a speed run, it takes like 30 minutes to do. So 700 gold in a couple of hours, which is not amazing, but it's better than what you get from the weekly, from the PvP weekly, the RVR weekly. That's only 70 gold in a week. So which one is a little better? 700 gold a day or 70 gold a week? So
I like my
think
70
there
gold a
needs
week.
to be, I think there needs to be something introduced for PvP players to be able to make gold easier.
100%
Not
agree.
everybody
100% agree.
kills 200 players on a continuous basis for some gold. So it's not an easy quest to complete. So I don't know. I think it's worth looking into. But anyway, you had more.
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. Let's get back on
kinda
track
talked-
here.
Yeah.
We kind of got off. We got off track. Let me finish my thought there before someone chimes in chat. So I wanted to kind of go back to this. We're talking about the new player experience here. How do we feel about Return of Reckoning welcoming new players in 2026? And I kind of wanted to touch on the UI. Right, you first start up the game, you load in. The UI looks rough, right? I feel like some add-ons are absolutely necessary, especially when you begin diving into the lakes for realm versus realm battling. Unfortunately, right, starting a game as a new player and realizing I have to look through and download a bunch of add-ons just to gain some quality of life, it's a real drag.
Yeah.
It's a real
Yeah,
drag. It may just straight out make people want to quit. Like, I came to play. I don't want to have to troubleshoot and work just to get my UI to look nice and be on an even playing ground with everyone else. I think revamping the UI to include a built-in enemy and unit frames or options to adjust minimap would go a long way in grabbing new players in 2026. I know there's a lot of devs who are supporting this game, building add-ons. It is fantastic. We love it. But I wish there was a way they could be integrated into the game files themselves as something, maybe something you check in the configuration files. Like, hey, I want to run. It wouldn't be all of them. It would just be the primary ones. Enemy being one of them. It's like,
Right.
I want this turned on.
If you don't want any add-ons at all, and I know people that don't want any add-ons, most of them at least have enemy at a minimum. But yeah, some would definitely disagree with you. The default UI or nothing. I know some people that want the default UI. They think it's just good enough.
Well,
I disagree.
that's in all games too. Like, there's a lot of people who
I-
play games that just want to play
Well,
the
sure.
default UI, and that's another thing that turns people away when they have a hard time looking at their whole warband to heal them without an add-on to put like a nice frames up on your screen.
Right. So I think the default UI definitely needs some work. But that's not really my biggest problem with the game. My biggest problem with the game is the optimization is pretty poor right out of the gate. Luckily, we have things like the Warcamp website that helps people set up their game properly, so that way they can optimize their settings. But
The frame rates can get real rough. Real rough.
Yeah, yeah. The real big problem is the targeting system.
Oh my god, I had so
targeting
many issues with
system
that when I first
Is
started.
the worst. Yeah, it's abysmal.
The way I like to play is really it sucks if you're ranged, but if you're melee, target nearest enemy, and you pick your target by running over to them. That's how I do it.
I absolutely use target nearest enemy because it's the only thing that works reliably.
Yes.
And
Yes.
as a tank, always up in the thick of it, I use that all the time.
Or shield doc. You're also kind of a tank.
True. Any melee, I guess.
Man. Well, the devs have gone a long way putting together tutorials, right? You see now you're leveling up. You get mail in your inbox that points you to different people, tutorials for talismans, how to gain your mount, so where to go buy your new mount, picking up mastery points. They've gone so far as to implement a new low-level dungeon, Dragonback Pass, to teach new players the basic mechanics for things like guarding, resurrecting, which is fantastic. You get a mail cleansing. You get mail in your inbox that says, hey, go talk to this guy and do Dragonback Pass. So they're really trying to point new players towards information to learn how to play the game. So I think they're very well aware of this, and they're doing what they can without changing the heart of ROR, or what they feel the heart of ROR is. It's fantastic. Kind of on that same topic, how do you feel the community attitude is towards the lobies and RVR, new players coming in? Is there an extreme gap between veterans and true new players? I think the answer is yes.
What do you mean gap? Like gear level? Because yes, absolutely. But the good thing is they're not increasing the gap by introducing more gear past Sov. At least not as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's any plans for that. But
horizontal gear progression. That's I like it.
yes,
I like it a lot.
Horizontal gear progression is a really good idea. I just don't know exactly how they're implementing it in this game, or if they are. You know what I mean? But if you're asking if there is a gap between veteran and new players, there's always going to be a gap between veteran and new players in an MMO. And it's not just with gear; it's also with the skill level that comes from understanding how each class plays and what to do. Does that make sense?
I think I was more, not so much gear, because that's going to be obvious, but man, more about attitude, how people play. The community seems very mixed to me. I came in lots of PvP, a little bit opposite from you. I think community seems mixed, but it feels like it's improving lately. This year, since 2026 started, I've seen a huge increase in Pug warbands, new warband leaders starting up groups. Just yesterday, for the first time that I've ever seen in 2 years of playing the game, the Looking for a Group panel was full. 10 mostly full parties, publicly recruiting. Normally there's a few, maybe 6 at peak times, lots of organized private bands, but very few pug bands, and it's really great to see new players stepping out of their comfort zone, trying to lead, right? It's all the new players from last year who are getting their good gear, getting experience from previous leaders, and now starting to lead war bands, and I love to see it. And I think we as a community need to support that more. And when I say support that more, I mean I see a lot of frustrated players on the other side in chat as well. You know, complaining about new players feeding renown, or trying to backseat lead these new warband leaders when a fight goes badly for the realm. I think it boils down to the fact that
let them learn.
Yeah, Return of Reckoning been around for many years. Let the new players learn.
If you don't agree with their call, support them anyway. You know what I mean? Die together. Let them learn. I think the biggest problem with pugs is people are afraid of dying, and pug warband leaders are afraid that if they lose their warband, they're going to lose a lot of players and they're going to have to refill. And that's a legitimate
I've heard that from Tyrex
to be worried about.
Quite a bit.
They would rather run from a fight, and not Tyrex, just any pug warband leader would rather run from a fight that they know they're going to lose to retain players in their warband. So
Right.
I don't know how to fix that. People are afraid of dying. So there's no penalty for dying in RVR other than a couple of silver, right? Unless you are currently in a push for a fort or a keep, you may lose the that fort or that keep for dying. But in open RVR, there's no real penalty for dying. So stop being scared of running or stop being scared of dying. I mean, I get it. I get it when it comes to pugs, though.
I wasn't
They
calling out
don't want
Tyrex
to spare
about
war.
being running away. Just wanted to clarify that. I was calling him out as
No, I
he
know.
a lot of times
You've heard
stops.
other right.
No. But what I was saying was Tyrex has said to me a lot and other people like, oh, we can't stay still for a long time and wait for an ambush or wait for them to attack us because people will get bored and leave. So we're going to go find a fight.
True.
Is what he's told me a lot. Which is, and it's also the same way with what you said with leaving a fight that
dying.
looks like it's going to be bad. Right? Exactly.
Like if there's a push and pull, then people are gonna stay. If they're fighting, they're gonna stay.
It's so hard to pull away a pug away from a war camp push pool. People are going to stay and fight because they're getting renown and crest there. You know, the core players have like 10 plus years of knowledge. They have optimized builds. They've established social circles.
Right.
We were talking about it in our chat a little bit earlier, and that creates a barrier to entry for new players. They come in, they try and play, and they can't join these well-established groups. So really hoping here that the community can learn to be more patient with their fresh players. We already know their gear level is less. They're dramatically weaker than your level 40, renown rank 80 plus tunes. New players.
If you know how bolster works, then you can really take advantage of that. And I think in a future podcast we are going to talk about that.
Yeah,
but,
that's good.
But yeah, it can be disorienting for new players.
And back to seeing a lot of hate in chat. I think people need to kind of change their thinking. I don't think a lot of what we're seeing is bad play, calling people out for feeding. I think it's more of a lack of experience. We need to really shift our mental model. Instead of seeing that lobies are feeding, right? Think lobies are our future RR80s. They're if they stick around long enough, they're going to be the next warband leaders that you might join and play around with. This is a niche, if I can say that right, PvP MMO, and we really need to try to retain people. Yep. Let's normalize teaching. If you're leading a warband and have voice, maybe call out why you're pushing instead of just saying push. When regrouping, talk some strategy. Voice why you're doing what you're doing rather than keeping the warband in the dark. For example, I'm taking our warband to Armory because we need to hold a second point for boxes. Then I'm headed over to assist Tyrex's band at the manor. Just something I don't see a lot of warband leaders do is kind of talk out or explain in chat what they're doing. Always try and type it out. Like, hey, we're doing this because of this. And I feel like the warbands where I do that, people like to stay more because they know what's going on and they could kind of think ahead. Okay, we're headed over here to do this, so I'm going to be on the lookout here for that.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think we hit all of the points that we wanted to cover today. If anybody has any topics they want to hear us rant and rave and discuss and come up with ideas for, let us know. Hit the comments. Send us a message. I don't know. I think Shep and I are pretty responsive to that kind of thing. Just let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will definitely try to get to it. We want to know what you want us to hear.
Definitely. Let us know in the comments, guys. Before we close out, we're going to go play our hardcore characters after this. Some of you are welcome to join us I'm going to actually stop my stream and then start up a new stream for the hardcore run. Let's go over our player of the week. Who's your player of the week, Serge?
Put me on the spot here. How about you tell me your player of the week?
I talked about him earlier. Tyrex. I want to shout out Tyrex. He takes a lot of hate from Region Chat, whispers, but still almost every day he's out there starting up a pug group, 16 plus players to crump, and that's a tough job. He's doing a fantastic job. We need to support all our warband leaders. They're people who want to succeed, and the constant shaming is going to lead to them to quit. They're not going to want to play anymore if they're getting shamed all the time. So let's give our warband leaders some love.
In no matter what aspect of the game that they enjoy, if you want to kill the game, you know, that's a good way to kill a game, is by giving people crap.
Toxicity.
There's a word for that. There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of people don't play certain games. There's no room for toxicity in such a small community. But we could talk about that in another podcast. I want to talk about who I value as the player of the week, and my shout out is going out to Talos. Talos is that guy that no matter what he's doing is going to stop what he's doing to help you out. And not just me, not just you, anybody. He is there for anybody that needs him. He just wants to help. And that's exactly what we've been talking about this entire time. So shout out to Talos for being the guy that will help out no matter what.
Thanks, Talos. Love you, buddy. And that's it. Thanks for joining episode 3, the Warcamp Broadcast. Join us next week, Friday, 9:15. We'll try to be on time. I had some technical issues. Had to restart my router.
Yeah, kind of threw us off this week, but
it's all my fault.
Okay.
See you in a little bit, guys.
We'll be better prepared.
Hardcore leveling. No one's going to